So that's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is taking a breather, 62,380. It's kind of a breather. And Bitcoin is doing this while altcoins are taking all the time in the sun. I mean, look at that. The Tentino's back. The dominance is at 43.22. And if you remember, quite a while back, I had a bet with my friend Arrington, who I said, so Arrington believes that Bitcoin will outperform alts in Q4. Who's going to tell him? I think what he did back then was he went to all his friends at the nursing home, and they all had like this discussion, and they spoke about what is going to be Bitcoin or altcoins, and the people at the nursing home all said it's going to be Bitcoin. And today we're going to talk about whether it's going to be Bitcoin or altcoins. Actually, we all know it's going to be altcoins. But then we're going to talk about which altcoins it's going to be, and I'm going to show you one altcoin that I think is going to be better than all of them. It's going to be huge.
Yo, come here, Crypto Banter crew. Guess what?
Crypto Banter. 6 in the morning, what the hell are you doing? Get the fuck out of it, bitch, we going straight to the moon. This time you listen to the sniper, cause he knows what he's doing. The way he analyzes trends, yo, you know he's a shoe. And it's overflowing, I think my money's going straight through the roof. I need to take me a broom so I can rake in the loot. It's Banter Fan with the answers, man, and that's thanks to Rand. He's dropping knowledge on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Degenerates taking over in altcoins, we making moolah. Just bought me some Doge, and you know that we definitely staking Luna. Bam, yo, that's 5 count sunny. Out here living lavish, yo, we making wives, changing money. This lifestyle is lovely. Crypto Banter is the channel that can help you spike up your money. Just open your eyes and invest in the future. There are protocols out there that are destined to do stuff. Trust me. See, they tell us all the time, Crypto Banter is the channel
maybe
that is
much sooner than we think.
Now smash the like button, smash the like button. The sniper's right 100% of the time, brother. Crypto Banter.
Oh, I love that new tune. I love that new intro. Thank you to the community members who actually made it. I mean, we didn't make any of that stuff. Amazing. Thank you, guys. Alrighty. Welcome back, Banter fam. I'm Cryptomanran. Usually Tentino's here, but Tentino's actually getting ready to go to get onto his flight, or packing to get ready for tomorrow, and we go to Lisbon so we can bring you live coverage from the Solana conference. So if you are new to this channel, you know what you need to do. Subscribe to the channel. Join the most loyal YouTube community in the world today. The most loyal YouTube crypto community in the world lives here at Crypto Banter. And this is, of course, the station for DJs. If you are a DJ, like we are, and you're going to be in Lisbon, you know what you need to do. There's an invite link, which we will drop at the end of the show. Actually, no, this time the invite link is on my Twitter profile. And at the end of the show, what we'll do is we'll give you the password, and there's going to be another 50 tickets to the Banter party meetup on Monday, the 8th of November, and that's happening at the Soho Club in Lisbon. So if you're going to be in Lisbon, please go and do that. If you're not going to be in Lisbon, don't do it. Don't do it, because you'll be taking someone's ticket who actually does want to be there and who actually is in Lisbon. What else before we start the show today? Or we're just going to go straight into DJing. Oh, the bet with Sheldon. So my Kucoin account is open. I think he's opening his Kucoin account. If you want to open a Kucoin account, there's a link below. Open a Kucoin account. I'm going to fund it with $100,000 for each account. And then we're going to start tomorrow. We're going to start competing. And remember, we said that all the profits will go to funding kids, underprivileged kids that can't afford school. We know that there's tons of them in Africa. There are tons of them in Indonesia. There are tons of them in India. Wherever they are, we will help them. We will send them around the world. We will try and fund as many as we can. And today we gave away $10,000. You said that. We did say that. Alrighty, let's look at the markets. Let's see what's going on. And then we're going to start this big DJing show. And we've got some amazing guests for you here today. Let's start by looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin 62,370. Probably for me, more exciting than Bitcoin right now is the market cap. Look at the market cap. Let's refresh that just so we give you guys an accurate market cap. There we go. market cap of 2866. I must say, you guys are a bunch of degens, because I did say to you yesterday, I said that I think that this company is going to win the Barcelona contract for the NFTs. When I told you that it was $6, you're a bunch of degens. You took the price up to $12, and then you sold the news, and now you're buying it back up. So well done to the bunch of degens for aping in and aping out. This is not what we teach you. This is not what we teach you. But if this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do. I think we should start with this. Remember my friend Mike Arrington? I mean, great guy. He has taught me many lessons in life. He was the guy that taught me that probably the best way to invest is to be the best investor on the cap table. And I don't know, he seemed to believe at one point that Bitcoin was going to outperform altcoins in Q4. I wonder if he still has that opinion. I mean, it's really hard to have that opinion when you see what's going on in NFTs. So you've got NFTs taking over the world at the moment. I don't know if you guys saw this, but you've got EA, which is the 6th biggest gaming company in the world today. They are now saying that the future of the industry is in NFTs. You got everything coming out of NFTs. You got Soulja Boy. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Soulja Boy is actually allowing you to invest in the NFT of his song. So you buy the NFT, and then you start making money every time he does that. And he's building this on the Algorand blockchain, which is, well, Mike Arrington is going to disagree with me, but I think, why build it on Algorand? Oh, because it's SEC approved. Of course. So this metaverse thing is happening a lot quicker than we thought, much quicker than I ever imagined. And the other thing that's happening right now is that Americans are becoming degens, okay? They are becoming absolute degens. 4% of Americans have quit their jobs to work for crypto gains. So Americans have basically become a nation of degens. 4% of Americans have quit their jobs, and they're basically saying, look, we are leaving full-time work because we actually want to become full-time crypto degens. The too long don't read. 4% of people in the USA have quit their jobs because of crypto gains. And the vast majority made under 50K. So people making under 50K, that's 13 million people, Luke says. Now, we know why so many people quit low-paying jobs, and this was before the current run-up. The data implies that crypto investments may provide life-changing levels of income for some, while wealthy owners of crypto use it more as another form of asset diversification. How's that? The crypto whales, of course, are getting richer, but as of now, blockchain technology seems to have shedded off its anti-establishment roots to be embraced by a diverse set of active stock traders. So people who are trading stocks are now moving into crypto. So the whole survey is over here. We'll go through the whole survey later on in the show today. But for now, what I want to do is I want to bring back our panel to talk about whether Q4 is going to be about Bitcoin or altcoins. And if it is going to be about altcoins, then which altcoins is it going to be about? That's what we're going to talk about. So first of all, coming to you all the way from the nursing home in Miami, we have Mike Arrington. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Ran.
Do you still really think that it's going to be a Bitcoin Q4?
I mean, unlike you, we actually put money down on this stuff, right? So we only bet on what we say we're betting on, and then we bet. So we have put a substantial percentage, north of 50% of our liquid fund into Bitcoin in Q4. We started doing that a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I guess I'm just a boomer, but I'm old enough to remember 2017 when similar things happened, and a lot of people who were pretty excited about alts ended up losing just about everything. So that's where we are. It's also not even halfway through Q4. We feel pretty good about it. I like how every time dominance goes down, though, you take your victory lap, and every time dominance goes up, you're just gone. You're like nowhere near Twitter that day. You're like, what? What happened? Are we talking about this? We're not talking about this. And then dominance goes back down, and then you're like, Arrington's a fucking boomer. It's like, what's going on with that? Let's just wait until the end of Q4, and then you can apologize.
So I can apologize.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be wrong on this one.
Okay.
Coming up in a couple weeks, right? Or less than 2 weeks. I don't know. We think highly of Bitcoin. Now, we still hold a lot of ETH, and we hold a lot of Luna. We hold a lot of Luna. So, you know, we have our bets on the alts as well.
So what's Luna?
Right now, we really like Bitcoin.
What's Luna? I know ETH. I know Ethereum. They spoke about it at the nursing home.
Dick, you got the CEO on backstage right now. Just bring him in. Yes.
We do indeed. We have Do Kwon with us. Do, welcome back, buddy. How are you?
Hey. So what is Luna, right?
Do, I know we were all around in 2017, and it was around this time in 2017 when I came to Korea and I met you, and I think at the time you were in the Hashed Accelerator. When you wake up now in the morning and you look at the markets and you see retail coming in and you see all this price action, don't you feel like you're living in a 2017 repeat?
I think it is really different. If you look at the caliber of the projects in 2017, literally you could just like throw a dart in the CoinMarketCap top 100 and none of them would have any users. So you see like $10 billion blockchains, like $5 billion blockchains, and all the blocks would be empty. No users that were actually doing anything. Most of the activity was centered around centralized exchanges just trading coins. It doesn't look like that anymore. In the sense that like when you use the terminology ape, it doesn't actually mean just like buy a bunch of coins from Binance. You have users that are taking sophisticated action across a number of different applications, from DeFi to cultural projects, from NFTs to metaverses, and where all those things sort of weirdly melt together. So I would say like insofar in that there are solid use cases that are being built that didn't exist in Web 2, that exist in a very solid way in Web 3 and growing at an exponential speed, I would say it's a completely different market from 2017.
So this week has been, for me, a pivotal week, because I think for me, this is the week where I've realized that retail is actually here, and they're here fast. Nike, Facebook announcement, Microsoft announcement, Nike announcement that they're going into the metaverse, Burger King and McDonald's both giving away crypto at their stores. Is it happening much faster than you imagined? Like when I woke up this morning, I thought to myself, I didn't for once imagine that we'd be in November 2021 and this would be the rate of adoption of crypto.
I think it's happening at a similar speed, but one of the things that I've learned over the last 4 years is that Web3 is just going to look a lot different than Web2. So for example, like when we first started building Terra, the main use case that we thought everything would take place around was payments. But then it turns out that you can do a lot more with crypto than just paying for things. Right. So for example, the reason why NFTs are interesting is not because like you can pick up, let's say, Galactic Punk or, like DJ Napes, and then the floor price of these NFTs go up overnight. That's not the goal. But what's the really interesting thing about NFTs is that they sort of preserve property rights across the internet. So if you look at Web 2, you have it's basically like internet communism, right? In the sense that you could be the richest billionaire on Twitter, and then you could be the poorest person without 2 Bitcoins to rub together. But you would still have the same property rights on all of these different internet properties, right? Like one person's Twitter profile will look exactly the same as another person's Twitter profile. So it hasn't been very, easy to own things. And, solving the double spend problem is what makes Bitcoin special, right? Those same things could happen, but it could spread out across cultural property rights, across a lot of different digital assets that you own. So right now that's taking the form of, let's say, profile pictures, but it could apply to lots of other things as well, right? So you could own, it doesn't necessarily have to be unique, but you can have ownership over digital property. And once you have the idea of ownership, then you start to build up social structures whereby those property rights could be respected. So it's as if like the internet was sort of like free infrastructure wherein the only possible business model was wasting people's time through advertisements. Now, the entire dimensionality of the economies that you can build on Web3 is fundamentally different because now we finally have property rights.
Sure, that sounds so exciting. When I listen to that, I think to myself, Q4 must be about altcoins. Jose, what do you think? Is it going to be about altcoins or is it going to be about Bitcoin?
Yeah, don't have too much of a view on that. We hold a lot of altcoins. I think like the altcoin kind of term is also a bit misleading because it's like these things aren't trying to be coins or compete with Bitcoin as digital gold, and like they all have their own their own use cases that are seeing like increased adoption all the time. And so I think the framing of like Bitcoin versus altcoins isn't quite right. Obviously, there's some like speculation spillover from the two, and some sort of wealth effect from Bitcoin going up. But I just see like continued traction in some of these altcoins use cases. You know, whether it's Luna with UST or some of the others as well. And I think that's not going to stop, kind of regardless of what happens with Bitcoin.
So look, I think it's obvious because I think I think all four of us on this stream are early investors in Luna. So I think it's inevitable that the majority of this conversation is going to go towards Luna and the ecosystem. But before we go to Luna, Terra, and the ecosystem, which other ecosystems are you guys excited about at the moment? I really want to hear from everyone. I want to hear from Mike because I want to hear from Mike. Doe, I'm really interested to know what you're looking at outside of your own ecosystem.
I don't think Doe looks outside of his own ecosystem. I hope he doesn't. I want him completely focused on his ecosystem.
Okay, Mike, you go ahead.
All right. Well, so there's two other ecosystems that three. We made an early bet. I think we were the first investors into Mutable, and we led the round. And so we've done some picks and shovels work on NFTs, and we have an NFT portfolio as well. And we have a team dedicated to NFTs. So we have a few investments there that I think are going to do well. The other ones are Algorand. We have an Algorand fund. We believe Algorand is definitely going to have a good year next year, and the Polkadot ecosystem. We have made a ton of investments there as well. So, why
do you think Algorand's going to have such a good year? What is it about the Algorand protocol that you're so encouraged by?
We've published some research on Algorand recently. It'd be great if you read it. I don't know if you can read stuff that long, but it's a lot of pages. But it's basically the idea.
Over 280 characters. That's where mine ends, and I have to go on to the next one.
Yeah. If you look at Solana has done exceptionally well because it does one thing really well. But it has some obvious flaws, and I don't think we need to rehash them. Algorand claims, and we think the math backs it up, that they can be both fast and decentralized. And so if that's the case, and we believe it is, we think they're going to take some market share from Solana over time. And we think there's some use cases for Algorand that only can be used on Algorand. So, like I said, we launched our fund in Algorand, $100 million fund when it was at 80 cents. It's doing better now. I think it's up to $2 or around there, but we think it's just getting started. So
from in the Arrington stable, I know that there was Arrington XRP Capital, which was an Arrington XRP fund.
Yeah.
Then there's an Algorand fund, and then there's a third fund, which is a cross-purpose fund, or what's the structure?
So yeah, there's Arrington XRP Capital is our first fund, and that's at like $1.5 billion now. Thanks seriously, largely to Doe. Doe is a money-making machine, and it's because he creates real value. And we made some other good bets there. We picked ETH early this year. That was a good macro bet. We have the Algorand fund, which started off at 100. It's a multiple of that now, and that's it. We have two new funds launching. But that's it. But our main flagship fund is Arrington XRP Capital. And, we still hold XRP, but it obviously has a lot of other investments as well.
Mike, I always say that you were the guy that taught me, and maybe you didn't know you were teaching it to me while you were teaching it to me, but one thing I learned from you, and I hold it dear to how we run our fund, is always to try and be the best investor on the cap table. Yeah. So I think if I talk to any of the portfolio companies that you're invested in, and I think Doe will probably attest to that, you're always known as the best investor on the cap table. You're always known as the guy who doesn't sell. You're always known as the guy, the team who would run nodes where there are opportunities to run nodes.
Yeah, look, we try to add value, but Delphi's considered an exceptional investor and puts different kinds of resources on deals than we do. And these guys are hackers, right? You look at Jump. I mean, Jump is an investor in a lot of these deals, and they put hundreds of millions of dollars of liquidity into these deals. So I really think it's an ecosystem where investors can add different things and help in different ways. And I think we help in our ways. We do a lot of research, which we publish. We do a lot of PR and outreach and communications. and we do a lot on the token sort of economic side. But like, there are investors out there that are fantastic. I think the hard thing is for entrepreneurs to figure out who are the real investors who are actually adding value, and who are the dipshits who just spend all day flexing on Twitter and who do absolutely nothing for you. And that's where they have to do their own research. So,
Jose, so you're from Delphi. You guys, in what seems to be a very short period of time, have become one of the best investors in the world, I think. Certainly, I think the leading or one of the leading investor groups on the Luna Terra ecosystem. Now, I know because I've been around since 2017 that it actually hasn't happened very quickly. Because if I remember correctly, you guys were actually a research-focused shop. I'm not sure if it was 2017 or 2018, but it was quite far back.
Yeah, absolutely. We started off as a research firm, just kind of publishing like deep dive reports on crypto, on what was called like altcoins back then. I guess people still call them altcoins, going really deep. Our specialty was always like the token econ side, I think, of kind of figuring out not just if the project's good, but whether the token captures value, how it aligns incentives, all of that. We published some early reports on synthetics. I think we covered Uniswap back in 2018, covered Thorchain pretty early on. And so after a while, I guess that Labs started, which was our consulting arm, where we started working directly with projects on helping them like come up with their token economic models. So worked with, obviously we designed the Axie Infinity token and led their seed round, designed the Yield Guild token, worked with Aave, Synthetics, Compound, Thorchain, a bunch of projects like that. And then we started the fund in actually late 2019, which was we actually tried to raise money. It just, people either didn't want to give us money or they wanted like an arm and a leg in GP, and so it just didn't work. So we ended up just putting in our own capital, and that's grown pretty nicely. We're managing about $1 billion now in capital. Wow. from a pretty small initial investment, about $1 million. So it's been a good run. And then on the lab side, we stopped doing the consulting. It just stopped kind of making sense, and just decided we wanted to go earlier and really help like build out this stuff. Like we had a lot of IP that we gained from working with these top founders, and we just decided we wanted to go earlier. We wanted to help build out this stuff the way we thought it should be built. And like Luna was really the first opportunity in the space. Like we had a lot of opportunities to build on different ecosystems and stuff. And kind of when we came across Luna, we came across it later than Michael and some of the other investors. We came across it like earlier this year was when we really kind of grokked it once Mirror launched, and we were like, oh shit, like this is cool. And then we just decided to devote most of our resources to building out and incubating stuff on Luna. Solana as well, but Luna is definitely our focus on the lab side.
So Labs versus Delphi as a company, you're saying Labs is focused on Luna, a little bit of Solana. Are there any other ecosystems that you're excited by?
Yeah, so Delphi is like, you've got research, which is like, research. And then we have labs, which is where we're building. And then we have ventures, which is where we're investing, basically. We're focused mainly, like about a year ago, we identified, or a little less than a year ago, we identified Luna and Solana as the two main layer ones that we're excited about. That's still the case. I'd say that the only other thing that we're looking at pretty closely is layer twos. And we're specifically like pretty interested in Starkware and kind of what that level of scalability will enable, especially in terms of gaming, which is like a space that we're really interested in. So I'd say, yeah, Luna is definitely our focus and our focus for the foreseeable future. We have a lot of Luna, and we just have a lot of our projects like anchored to Luna. So it's just going to be tough for us to focus on anything else, but definitely interested in layer twos as well.
Okay, just hold on one second. So if you had $100 to invest right now, and you had to split the money between Luna and Solana, I won't tell Do. I've taken him off here. How much would you put into Luna, and how much would you put into Solana?
Not investment advice, by the way, before Gabe calls me a lawyer. But yeah, I'd definitely go. I mean, I'm very bullish on Solana as well. I just think that Luna, like the token econ, makes a lot more sense. Like you actually don't need a marginal buyer for Luna. Like the burn means that like Luna can do well without like needing like an like incremental new buyer. I guess the pitch for Solana is just, if we think crypto is going to invade like everything in every vertical, you need enough scalability and like cheap enough block space for that to be possible. And right now that's not possible on Luna, although there's some solutions being worked on. But again, like Luna can succeed without its layer one even succeeding. Like UST, as long as UST goes cross chain and becomes the stable coin of choice, the layer one could just be like a stopgap for that to happen. I mean, as in the layer one ecosystem, I'd go mostly Luna is the TLDR, and probably 80-20 or something Luna Solana.
Wow, all these compliments flying in, Do. I mean, the guys are looking at you. Do, I was an early investor in Luna. I was around since 2017 or 2018 or whenever it was. There was a turning point. There seemed to have been a turning point, and I don't know if the turning point came in November, December, January, February, March, but it happened somewhere around there. What happened at round about that point where all of a sudden Luna became this behemoth? What was the turning point?
Yeah, so in sort of the first iteration of Terra, we were spending all of our resources in building a payments company. And while, I think that was good, it also meant that we couldn't do lots of other things. So the culture, what it takes to build a payments company that is regulated and licensed is a little bit different than, like building a DeFi DAO, right? In the sense that, the former is supposed to be centralized, is supposed to suck all the value in, and it's supposed to be secretive, it's supposed to be conservative by nature, right? Because you're playing in an established industry, you're competing against other corporations, and you have a lot of rules and regulations to follow. So while at the same time, if you're trying to build a community, it's different because it doesn't mean that you try to hold all the value to one institution. It just means that you let everything flow and you contribute in whatever the best way that you can in the most transparent and open way possible. So I would say that in the beginning, when we were focusing most of our efforts on payments, we wanted to build then, some things like Anchor and Mirror and tons of ideas that we have in the pipeline that we haven't launched yet. But at the same time, it was kind of difficult to reconcile that with existing staff that had realistic, expectations and things to live by. So we, around, I think early or mid 2020, we did a company split. So TFL started spinning out all of its real world businesses, like, the payments entity Chai and MimiPay. And we basically broke down the entire organization. And we empowered everybody. So we got rid of Atlassian, all of our workflows and dev tooling and things like that, and said, hey, look, we're just going to be working on these three things. It's going to be Mirror, it's going to be Anchor, and the third is whatever you want to work on that you think is going to be interesting. So that's when we went through a really weird phase where the only people that were left were people that were true believers in crypto and super degens. So they started to gather together to work on a ton of different, super weird projects. And some of the better known ones like Anchor and Mirror, I think there were slam dunks. But there were also some of the other ones that were sort of really on the edge, some that never really saw the day of light. But at the same time, that as a firm, it helped us really grow and understand what types of applications are possible in a Web3 dominant world. And now we sort of have this really interesting culture where we have a lot of offshoots from TFL, like people that left the company and are starting, other projects and companies in the Terra ecosystem are adjacent to it, which I think really, allowed the Terra community to grow in a really meaningful, strong way. So I would say that was our turning point.
So I read this article, I think it's not very recent. In fact, it's from October, and it said over 160 projects will launch next on Terra Luna, on Terra Luna in the next coming months.
I think that's actually an understatement because I think just Jose is going to launch 160 projects.
Wow. Okay, Jose, talk to us about what you're excited about that's coming to the ecosystem. So, I think people know the basics of the ecosystem. Everyone knows Mirror Protocol, they all know Anchor Protocol, and we've seen Pylon Protocol, we've seen Orion, and now, to be honest, I'm seeing more deals on Luna than I'm seeing on any other blockchain. So we went through an ETH phase. I'm not seeing many more deals on ETH. I kind of think the money seems to be drying up there. I saw a huge Solana wave where everyone was investing in Solana projects. And now I'm seeing every second deal that I look at is a Luna Terra deal. What are you seeing?
Yeah, no, for sure. And just to touch on what you said before about what changed with Luna this year. I remember, I think it was, though, you told me that someone had described Terra's marketing as like a shy Korean girl before, like in 2019 and 2020 or whatever. And you've really stepped that up with the Twitter degen game. I think that helped. But like DeFi, like Terra's DeFi ecosystem for us was the big turning point, because we've been covering stablecoins since like the very beginning. So we covered MakerDAO back in like 2017 or whatever, and then we all like aped the SD and got burnt pretty hard. Like I think Jan still owns a couple of % of supply of that thing, whatever. So it's like we're always bullish on decentralized stablecoins, but what we realized is you can't solve. It doesn't work. Like first of all, the debt-based models like MakerDAO are really hard to scale, and also they end up having to use centralized collateral. And then the algo stables, you can't just do Ponzi incentives to grow supply, because at some point that supply is like a liability of the share token, right? And if you don't have real demand for the stablecoin, you get like a run on the bank, which is what happened with every single one. And what we saw with Luna was like real demand for the stablecoin and a focus on building real demand for the stablecoin. And that's what got us really excited. In terms of what we're excited about that's coming soon, there's like a bunch of stuff. So obviously there's stuff that we're working on. Astroport will be coming pretty soon. It's going to be a DEX on Luna. I think it's going to be a pretty significant improvement over TerraSwap. So TerraSwap right now is basically Uniswap V1, right? It's just like XYK pools, pretty inefficient for a lot of different types of assets. So Astroport is going to introduce, first of all, flexible pool models. So you're going to have the Curve stable swap model, which will be way more efficient. For example, for anchor liquidations, for the Luna, you'll need way less liquidity in order to kind of have efficient liquidations there. It's going to be way more efficient for stables once you have other stables on the Terra ecosystem. And then it's also going to have LBPs, and it's going to have like a smart router that kind of routes across all of that. And then the other big improvement there is like the token econ, where you actually have a token that makes sense and aligns incentives between LPs and token holders, similar to or inspired by Curve on Ethereum. And I think that's going to be pretty cool, because it's going to be a token that the entire community wants to own, because it's going to direct the ASTRO issuance. So if people want their pools to get issuance, like it makes sense to own ASTRO for that reason. Other than that, we're launching Mars Protocol as well, so which is a generalized like credit protocol. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Maybe too much to get into here, but the idea is that crypto enables, like everyone's trying to do uncollateralized lending via like credit histories and just porting over concepts from TradFi, right? Like I want to do credit history on this DAO and figure out whether they're credit worthy. Whereas for us, what's cool about crypto is with smart contracts, you don't need to actually know anything about someone's history. You just need for them to write down in a smart contract what they're doing. And as long as there's liquid tokenized collateral, you can just underwrite that, right? If you know the liquidity, the volatility of the collateral, and you know what they're going to do with the loan, you can just underwrite that. And so that's the basic concept behind Mars, and then just like coming up with a risk framework that allows you to generalize that for lots of different use cases. So we're super excited about that, and I think it's going to enable. We already have a bunch of projects that are building products on top of it. One of them, for example, is Levana, which is going to be first of all leverage trading on Terra, and then second of all perps. Perps obviously are like several multiples bigger than spot market, and I think that's going to be a huge thing for Terra. You're going to be able to kind of go leverage long, not just on Terra-based assets, but also on all the M assets, right? Like Amazon and Netflix and all of that. There's a bunch of other stuff. Like, I mean, the way I think about it is like there's the investment ecosystem, which is all the stuff that helps UST be a better like investment vehicle. And then there's the spending ecosystem, which is all the things that make UST more spendable. And those are like the two main use cases of money. And I think there's a lot of innovation on both. I won't monopolize the kind of conversation, but yeah, happy to go on.
Is the reason why this is all happening now, is it somehow related to the last upgrade, which was the Columbus5 upgrade? Was that a pivotal upgrade that was required for all of this to happen? Because it kind of seems like they're all happening now. Like there haven't been very many Terra Luna projects launched, and now all of a sudden, every second deal is that. I mean, was it related to the upgrade? Is it unrelated to the upgrade? Why is it all happening now?
I mean, so if I can jump in a little bit, so the reason why a lot of projects were building in the background and not launching was because with Columbus5, we had some breaking changes to the smart contract interface. So doing a migration for smart contracts in production is really, really annoying. So I think a lot of projects were sort of, waiting at bay until the Columbus5 mainnet came out. And now I think a lot of that pent-up energy is hitting production all at the same time.
Okay. Mike, what are you excited about in the ecosystem? What are you guys looking at?
Well, we've made a ton of investments, but what I'm really excited about is what I'm announcing in like 20 minutes. Doe and I are going to be doing a Twitter Spaces with somebody, and we're going to be announcing a new fund, so that'll be exciting. And a new fund.
Arrington Luna.
It's not quite what you're thinking, but it is associated with Doe, and we're pretty excited about that. One of the problems with Luna is that you have to understand crypto to use most of it. And so we think there's a lot of people out there who can get a lot of utility out of the ecosystem who aren't necessarily crypto native, but have a lot of money. And so we're gonna try and help them out a little bit. So.
Wow. Mike, you tweeted the other day and you said something like, you think that Doe is the best, I don't know if you said the best founder in the world or the best crypto founder in the world, but it was something along those lines. What was the thinking behind that tweet?
Look, when somebody makes you $500 million, you like them. I don't know. It's just like Doe's like he doesn't fuck around. You know, one of the things about Doe too that people don't always understand unless you've worked with him on the business side is Doe's, besides making great products, Doe's is very concerned that his investors make money. And so it hasn't happened with us, but I've seen investors, like they've done something with Doe where it hasn't worked out just because of timing, where he's gone in and made it right with them in a way that he wasn't in any way legally or morally obligated to. The guy he just every time he does a deal, he tries to see it from both sides and make sure everybody ends up being happy. And that means investors are happy, but it just also means that anytime Doe wants to do something, investors are in. There's just no question. And so
yeah, I noticed that. So I noticed that. I mean, we've been early investors, and I think we're very much investors in the current ecosystem. But if I look at the ecosystem of investors, and then I keep seeing the same investors in the same deals. It's 1KX, it's Arrington, it's Hashed, it is Galaxy. And it seems to be the same people over and over and over again every time that Doe is doing something. And for me, I guess that's testament to what you're saying, that investors just follow Doe in whatever he does.
Yeah, he also, though, I think he has a long memory, and there are some investors that have fucked him or at least not been ideal, and you don't see them popping up again. And so I think the other side of that is treat Doe right. And don't just liquidate everything when you want to. Think about the ecosystem and the effects on it as well. It matters. And so yeah, but you've got two very loyal investors here on and there's a whole bunch of us, and Hash, I think
three very loyal investors.
Did you really meet him in 2017? And were you in that first round in 2018 that we were in?
Indeed, I was. And
when did you sell all your Luna? Did you sell it?
I think Doe will tell you that they're all staked. They're all very well staked.
You've never sold a Luna? You've never sold a Luna?
I have sold, but net I've bought. So I may have sold every now and then, but net I've only increased my positions from 2017 by a lot. In fact, if you watch this show in November, when Luna was 35 cents, I think it was, or somewhere around there, we were screaming to people, buy it, buy it, buy it. I would say I think we were the first channel that went out publicly and said, guys, 35 cents, $1, guys, keep buying, all the way back as far as November. I keep reminding the community of that. But to answer your question, net, I've only increased my position by a lot. We're, I think, reasonable stakers. In fact, we stake behind you guys. We stake behind your node, actually, significantly. We're reasonable investors in Anchor. We're stakers with Orion. We're investors, and any opportunity to stake and invest in the Luna ecosystem, we're very much there. We're very, very, very much there. It fits into our investment thesis of picking the protocols that we like and then doing everything that we can to make sure that these protocols grow. And in fact, one of the things that we're doing now is we're actually working on a new type of launchpad which will let Luna holders use their Luna to fund the ecosystem without actually losing any of their yield. So we have a model which will allow people to stake their Luna, not lose any of the stake, but at the same time fund projects which are being developed in the ecosystem. So we're very loyal investors to this ecosystem. Let's move it to another discussion. Gary Gensler and stablecoins. So you can see that Gary Gensler and his friends are going all after US dollar-backed stablecoins. I saw this and I mentioned to our community that that's probably the biggest opportunity of our lives. And my thesis here was to say, before it gets messy, trade out of your USDT and your USDC. Put your money into Luna and then put your money into Luna and then trade out of your USDT and USDC and buy UST and then force the burn and increase the value on the one side and be in a stable coin that Gary Gensler can't really touch. Is my thesis, is there a Gary Gensler risk on UST or is there no Gary Gensler risk on UST?
Didn't Gensler like fly to Korea and like personally serve you or something, Doe? I mean, they definitely are looking at Terra.
I didn't want to bring it up. I mean, Doe, if you want to talk about the elephant in the room, I don't want to bring it up just because, but I mean, look, you are suing the SEC.
He's suing the SEC. I mean, how awesome is that? He's like, he gets served and he's like, fuck you, and he sues them. He's not an American citizen. He doesn't live in the US. And they're just messing with him. I love the fact that he's fighting back. None of us are, right? In the US, we just keep bending over to the SEC. Doe actually steps up and does something. And he's not even American.
Doe, you want to talk about that, or is that out of bounds?
Well, I want to touch upon the first point that you made first. So I think one of the reasons why the Terra community is so enthusiastic of everything that's going on is, Terra as a layer one, it's not the fastest chain. It doesn't have, the most tooling. It doesn't have the most infrastructure. But I think what animates the Terra community is the idea that the problem that we're trying to solve is that we're creating the most decentralized and useful form of money out there. And I think a lot of the regulatory pressures that are coming in across, crypto as an asset class in general is actually very bullish for UST and Terra. And the reason for that is that if you have all of these pressures that are coming in, that's when diamonds are made, right? And the thing is, you can't have DeFi without decentralized money. And if you have bank deposits backing coins, then in that case, whoever has the authority or the power to seize the underlying bank deposits gets to rule DeFi. And today, it just seems like that's, like the US government or the SEC. But I think as regulatory pressure starts to build up, $70 billion worth of stablecoins have to go somewhere. And I'm putting my money on the fact that that's going to be UST.
That's exactly what I said on the show the other day. I said, the way I played out the thesis, I said as follows. If Facebook is saying that everything's going into a metaverse, and I kind of agree, I don't think I need to drive to work. I think I can easily just enter the metaverse and go and work in the metaverse. If I want to go and play a game of poker, I'll go and play it in the metaverse. But I'm not going to play it with USDT and USDC. I'm going to use metaverse money, and it's going to be decentralized money. And I even took the thesis a step further, and I said, it's also going to be using decentralized computing, which is going to be made up of decentralized computing power and decentralized storage. And that is effectively how we break away from this centralized, decentralized world. I think that there are two battles that are happening at the moment, and I want to show you this. I think I've got it. Here. So I think that there's two battles that are happening at the moment. One is the old centralized world against the new decentralized world, and that is crypto versus USDT and USDC. But then there's also another little battle that's happening, and that's this battle that's happening right here, which is Coinbase versus Uniswap, BlockFi versus Compound, USDT versus UST, DAI, etc. BitMEX versus DYDX. So I think we're really fighting about two different battles now. One is let's move from fiat to crypto, but also let's just move completely to decentralized crypto. And I think that two moves have happened in the last week, which is poured real gas on this fire. One of them is Metaverse, which is, I think Metaverse just shows everyone that the notion of having to live somewhere or work somewhere is completely garbage. You just need to get into a metaverse, a place, and go and use it there. And the second thing is regulation on stablecoins. I think that has now, they're trying to regulate the bridges. And I think that we're going to use the bridges, but I think as soon as we're on the crypto side, we're going to burn the ships. And we're going to say, great, I'm on the crypto side, I'm going to burn the USDT, USDC, I don't want to have anything to do with this ecosystem anymore. And then the question is whether it goes into DAI or whether it goes into UST. And my bet is, I mean, I said it before, I said it 3 times this week. I think it's going into UST.
Yeah,
I think those are the battles.
definitely agree with that, and agree with Do's point as well about pressure making diamonds. Like while the regulatory stuff is kind of bearish short term for sure, like Gensler is an angry man. He's going after a lot of different protocols. I think long term it's bullish because it forces actual decentralization, right? There are all these points of centralization still in crypto. Like stable coins are a really obvious one. Like it's so dumb. Like it's going to be so obvious in hindsight that this wasn't a sustainable solution. Like these are literally like dollars in a bank account. They're IOUs for dollars in a bank account, where the dollars in a bank account don't necessarily even have to be there, right? They can, like, the companies can do whatever they want with them. They can literally freeze the USDC or USDT, which they've done before, obviously for good reasons so far, for hackers and stuff. But it's a power that they have, and it's exactly what we're trying to avoid with decentralized finance. I think it's going to be pretty obvious. But there's other points as well, like multi-sigs and governance and stuff, that I think are going to be like the whole space is going to be pushed forward by the pressure of regulation. You're going to actually have to decentralize, which is what the point of this. It's why we're all here, right? Like the point of crypto is not like issuing tokens to raise non-dilutive financing from retail, which is what the SEC seems to think it is. It's actually to create a decentralized financial system, a decentralized internet that no one can stop, right? And I think the regulatory pressure, like what Gensler is doing, is only going to push us to do that faster, even if in the short term it's bearish. And yeah, I do think most of that. Yeah, go ahead.
What happens with taxation in the metaverse? I mean, if I work in the metaverse, but I live in New York, what happens with taxation in the metaverse? If I'm earning all my income in the metaverse, what happens with taxation?
I thought you're immigrating to Monaco or something.
Well, I'm immigrating into the metaverse. Yeah. Do, I know that you and Arrington need to be somewhere in 5 minutes. Do you want to talk for 2 minutes about the SEC, the case, your case against the SEC? Maybe give the guys a little bit of background as to why you decided to take on the SEC.
Yeah. So on the one hand, I've talked about this issue before, but there is a point to what some of the regulators are doing, right? So there's so much that's coming out in this new industry that from a regulator's perspective, you might want to rein some of this in, right? That not everything is so rosy in crypto, that it might deserve a second look at some of the things that's not being self-regulated by the industry. But one thing that I want to stress, though, is, every time that you have such a fundamental, leap in technology, there's always going to be friction between, incumbents, existing systems, and, the new paradigm that's about to emerge. But one thing that I thought was quite entertaining when I was observing the regulatory landscape play out, and with this particular case, is, in DeFi, the predominant meme is that we're here to change the future of France. And the interesting thing is that the last time that people tried to change the future of France, they pulled out the guillotine and started executing people. So these things happen in revolutions. Now, what's kind of interesting is that in this revolution, most of our top revolutionaries are just capitulating when the only real punishment that is being offered is just lawsuits and paperwork, right? And I think, having a regulatory conversation means that you have people that are stand up and willing to voice their opinions, and then tell regulators what you think is the right and the moral way in which society can evolve to embrace blockchains. And, without going into too many particulars, I feel like that's what we're doing, right? And I think through this conversation, we're going to end up with, more decentralized ecosystem in DeFi. And I think UST is going to emerge as the dominant decentralized stablecoin.
What right does the SEC have to serve summons, which I believe it was a summons that they served, on a Korean resident?
Nothing. Yeah.
I guess that's the heart of the case.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I know that you and Mike have to go. Mike, before I let you go, just prediction for Bitcoin dominance at the end of Q4. I'm not going to ask you for a price prediction, just a prediction for Bitcoin dominance at the end of Q4. And given that the end of Q4 is about 53 days away, 54 days away.
I mean, it's going to be higher than it is now.
Okay, so just
Clearly.
just for the record, right now it's a 43.18. Just putting it out there.
Look, we like dominance up past 50. Bitcoin volatility has been very subdued. When that happens, things happen. We're going to see some big movements in Bitcoin, hopefully go to the upside. But every model we have and every model our hedge fund friends have says Bitcoin's time is coming soon.
And
so, yeah.
I mean, my logic behind this is to say, look, Bitcoin was it's a great technological advancement. It's found its place as a store of value. It has disrupted gold and continues to do so. It is disrupting other store of value assets. But there's so many more exciting disruptions that are coming from blockchain, like payments, like NFTs, like metaverses, et cetera, that Bitcoin's disruption has happened, and these disruptions are just happening. That is my thesis as to why the Bitcoin dominance in the big scheme of the blockchain change is going to continue to go down.
Yeah, I get it. You think Bitcoin is boomer coin. I mean, that's all you have to say. It's just, and I get you're creating content. Let's just see what happens. We think Bitcoin is the alpha and the omega. We think it's the perfect form of money ever created. We love altcoins. We think the experiments going on are fantastic, and it's a Darwinian system, and it's great. But Bitcoin is proof of work, and we like proof of work from a security standpoint. And it's money, and it's the only money. There was no such thing as money before Bitcoin was created. Being short Bitcoin over the long term is a fool's bet, and you are short Bitcoin over the long term. So we'll see how it works out for you.
We will see indeed. All right, guys, brilliant again. I know that you guys are going to go, so thank you so much. Do, thank you so much. Mike, thank you so much. Jose, we will see you again on the show very shortly, and I think we'll see you again in Lisbon too. I think you are in Portugal, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so we'll see that. We'll see you there, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Cheers, guys. Wow. What a bunch of people. What a good bunch of people. Before we go, I think we must degen into altcoins. And I don't know if you remember, but remember we gave away, or we said we were going to give away a Leo Messi NFT. And we took a whole lot of names, and we asked you guys to apply for the Leo Messi NFT. I don't know if you remember that. And today, on the day when Barcelona announced that they have given Ownix the rights to the NFTs of all their content, I think it's a great day to give away the Leo Messi NFT before we talk about the altcoins, right? So let's get Adrian Bashuk on the line. He is, as you know, my producer at CNBC and also one of the producers here at Cryptomanran. Adrian.
¿Qué tal?
¿Qué tal, amigo? So first of all, well done on all the amazing things that you guys are doing at Eternity. I mean, wow. And then yesterday you guys announced that, or I don't know if you announced it or if it was leaked, but it looks like there's a metaverse coming.
There is. We've been hard at work producing all these different verticals of the NFT ecosystem. We're here in New York at NFT NYC. And so we see this NFT world as various different verticals all coming together. And we've set our path and set the course for a bunch of new developments, including our first virtual world for members only, just a 100-member virtual world that will be rolling out. And we're going to announce a giveaway here as well to one of your members. We can talk that in a second.
Oh, wow. Okay, so wait, slow down. So there's a virtual world where there's going to be 100 people. Well, there's going to be 99 people and me, right? So I get one, and then 99 others, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay,
so
and you're going to give one more to someone here at Banter, right?
Yeah, we're releasing a private beta of a virtual world of the Eternity world, galleries showing the NFTs, eventually giving NFTs utility in the metaverse. There's going to be wearables, unlockables, all sorts of stuff. So of those 100 members, one of the members, membership we are giving away to a beloved member of your Banter family. That's debuting in December, announcing it here.
Amazing. So let's do the first thing first. Let's give away the Messi NFT. I know we promised the community the Messi NFT. I'm bringing it up onto the screen. That is the NFT. It's a one of one?
That is not the one of one. I'm sorry. That went for something million, so we can't give away that one. This is the third highest rarity piece of I think 350. It's the king piece. It was first purchased at $450. So this is going to Crypto Cal-L. Crypto Cal-L. We've got him on Twitter. So
Okay.
a member of your community, they signed up. It is going to Crypto Cal-L. So we'll be reaching out directly to him.
Alrighty, amazing. And let's give away the space or the one place into the Eternity Metaverse. Let's give it away, guys. Find us a comment and let's do it. Who wants in? Who wants in? Who wants in? Tell us in the comments who wants in. Who wants in? Who wants in?
Let me see if I can share the screen and show it. Ran, let's see here. And this is the tweet that our co-founder Nick Rose released. You can take a look. Again, this is private beta, 100 members only. We see these happening in the metaverse where there's big, huge places for people to gather, but we think the way in is first creating smaller communities, niche communities there.
Okay. All right. Who wants in? Who wants in? Who wants in? Let's see. Okay, there we go. I found the winner, and the winner is Bellman Kelkan, who says, "Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play." So let's go play. Let's go play.
Bam. So
bam.
You will put us in touch with them, Ran, and
we will get hold of them. It's a giveaways at cryptobanter.com. If you've won only, you have to verify your identification, and yeah, that's how we verify it. Adrian, I will see you in Lisbon on Sunday, and then we're going to do some great coverage of the Solana conference.
100%. We're there, buddy.
Because we fought hard to get you a press pass, and apparently they sent you a press pass. So we're going to Lisbon.
We're big on content and volume. So we see the NFT space just like producing in the studio system. The more content, the more volume put out, you're going to be around for the long term.
Amazing, buddy. See you on Sunday. Cheers. And see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, and remember, Ched's show tonight, Trading Wisdoms. What's the topic of? Fight the FOMO, how to fight the FOMO. That's happening later on tonight with Ched's. Next week, we're also going to get the amazing Leia Halpern back to do another microdose for us. And I think we're going to build microdose into an amazing show with Leia. I will see you guys again tomorrow before we fly. We're going to do one show together. Sheldon and I are going to do one show only tomorrow because we are both flying later. But then we will make it a big show. We'll add fundamentals. We'll do technicals. We will do some degen calls. In fact, let's quickly just look at the altcoins. See that there's nothing that we have to do. Can't help myself. I can't help myself. You see, there's even one of the altcoins that I own from a long time ago is one called ApeCoin. I don't know how I own that coin, but for some reason I have it on my portfolio. It's called ApeCoin. Why did I buy ApeCoin? It's a long time ago. Oh, I'll tell you why I bought it. That guy from, that dude, is the market down? No. The dude from Jared, the guy that gave us all the Binance gems, that guy came and he said, buy ApeCoin. So I bought ApeCoin. No idea what it does. Okay, guys are saying time. Let's quickly see, is there anything? Alien Worlds is doing what it's supposed to do. Alien Worlds is doing what it's supposed to do. We did tell you it was going to happen. Okay, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, I'm going to go look at the altcoins. I was watching the altcoins there. You guys literally cut me off in the middle of watching the altcoins. What's good? I'll tell you what's good.
SLP just pumped 75%.
I told them about Alien Worlds. It's now 31. Amazing. Saber, another one that's
Just
good.
pumped 75%.
Whoosh. Whoosh.